Okay, so I got the tire and new tube mounted now, and I'm ready to put the bearings in. So I got two new bearings. I got the rubber sealed ones, but rubber sealed or stainless steel sealed or steel sealed, it doesn't really matter as long as they're sealed. There's no way I'm going to start doing the old school packing grease and having the grease fly out. Sealed bearings for the price are the way to go. There's just no other way to do this. So I've got my my shoulder, my hub all cleaned up, rather. The shoulder is all nice and clean here inside. Had a little bit of grease and junk in there, so I just took my wire brush, went around and then cleaned it with a cloth, and now it's nice and smooth. I'm going to put just a light coating of grease in there and put my bearing in place. I'm going to drive it in with the same socket that I use for the nut on the brake plate. And I wanted to correct something. The other day when I made the video where I was taking the wheel off of the back, and I was talking about modifying that nut, shaving it down a little bit on a flat file so that a 1 3/16 socket would fit it, because I didn't have anything that would properly fit it. I kept calling it from time to time. I went back and had a look at the video. I kept calling it the castle nut. It's not the castle nut. The castle nut, is, which is the outside one that's split with the cotter pin that goes through, that's 24 millimeters. So that's not a 1 3/16 inch nut. That's a 24 millimeter nut, two different sizes. So I kept going back and forth in my mind. I just kept saying castle nut, even though I know it's not a castle nut. So I wanted to correct that in case anybody's wondering, or if there's any confusion. I apologize for that. Try my best to be accurate with what I call things. And of course, you know, everybody speaks a different version of English, so I'm a Canadian, so we say things. I learned to speak English on the east coast of Canada, so I call it a wrench. Some people in the UK call it a spanner. You know, I call it a crescent wrench. Some people call it an adjustable wrench. You know, just different terms for the same things depending on where you speak English and learn to speak English, or where you're speaking it now. So it's kind of a handy thing about English. You can have all kinds of different versions and still make yourself relatively understood. Alright, so I got a little bit of grease all the way around. I think I do. So I'm going to place my bearing in there. And then just, I've got a rubber mallet. I'm just kind of tipping the mallet so that as I go around, I'm really hitting the outer race here. And then when I get down to the bottom here, I'm going to drive it home with this. Well, I could try now, actually. Yeah, it'll work. I can give this a shot. Yeah, I was wasting my time going around the mallet, holding that steady like that. Smacked it in nice. And you can see that 1 3/16 socket fits just nicely inside. It's a little loose, but it'll always hit on the outer race, so don't damage it. Alright, so I think I got that one in. Yeah, looks like it's in good and flush. Just double check here. Good smack. Yeah, it didn't go down anymore. So now I'm going to get the other side, but I have to remember to put in the spacer. It'd be a pain in the ass to have to pull one of the bearings out and possibly damage it because I forgot to put the spacer in. So let me grab my spacer. Still got a whole bunch. I hadn't cleaned off the crappy grease that was in there from the factory. No matter. It'll be fine. Just get off some of the excess. There we go. Clean that up. I'm just going to put a light coating there on it. Instead of blobs and blobs of grease. Same thing on the other end. And drop it in place and throw in the bearing. And there we go. That's it. Now I'm just going to a quick look. Yeah, it's all cleaned up. I'm just going to grease the inside and get that ready. A little easier to get the bearing in. Just having a look on the side just to make sure there isn't any scratches or dust or anything like that, but no. And it's got a light coating of a light film of the oil that they ship these in, they pack them in, so to kind of prevent corrosion. So get it started a little bit here. Go with the socket again. My hand's a little greasy, so get a little bit of soap. It's handy having some of the soap around from my spray bottle from when I put on the tire, so that's good. Okay, back to this. So you can hear when it gets to the bottom, it changes sound, right? You know you've hit the bottom of the machining there, the edge for the bearing for the other race. So that's good. That's in. Yep. Turns free. I didn't check the other side. I don't imagine it's bound up, but let's have a look. Yep, turns free. And I got to reinstall the cush rubbers. I haven't cleaned them yet, so I'm not going to reinstall them on this video. All I was going to do was just a little bit of soap, just some simple detergent. I didn't want to put anything harsh